answer. So Elizabeth Warren, how does it make you feel? Here, she claims to be an American Indian and gets a six-figure job at an Ivy League school. You just want the land that your ancestors had back from Brown University. You don't get tenure. I mean, have you gotten a tenured position at Brown?
No, absolutely not. And I think particularly being from the region where we're from, the Eastern Woodlands, and being Algonquian, it's a bit of an insult because we have to constantly struggle on a daily basis with the stereotypical views of what a American Indian is supposed to look like. So for someone to kind of throw that on when it's advantageous and then take it off when it's not, that's a bit of an insult, absolutely.
So why do you think one Ivy League university awarded a multi-$100,000 contract to Elizabeth Warren on the basis of fake Indian ancestry, and the Ivy League university you're dealing with has blown you off for so long?
There's a lot of speculation to that. Perhaps it's the circles that she's moving in, people that she knows, the fact that she knows how to play the game. I couldn't quite speak directly to it, but I do think it is an issue and something that needs to be addressed.
So I don't think she's ever clarified. She's never taken the $89 Ancestry.com test that could, settle this once and for all. But from your knowledge of indigenous peoples, have you ever run into her at any gatherings? Is she a well-known American Indian?
I haven't seen her around, not in these parts. I don't want to speak on behalf of all Indian folks across the country, but we definitely haven't seen her around these parts, and I haven't run into her, so I couldn't say yay or nay.
But there are not a lot of American Indians in New England. I mean, I don't want to generalize. There are some tribes, of course you're one of them, but you feel like you would know. I mean, if there was an American Indian tenured Harvard law professor running around, wouldn't you know about it?
I would imagine that someone around would have bumped into her at some sort of social gathering or some sort of interaction with the other populations that are around. So no, I can't say that I have.
Okay. Well, it suggests, again, we can't confirm it because she hasn't taken a simple DNA test, but it suggests maybe she's lying. Two Hawks, we just wish you all the luck in the world in your battle against that corporate university for your ancestors' land, and I hope you'll keep us apprised of what happens.
Tapatish Tucker, thank you very much for your time.
Amen. Well, the press had a total meltdown over the president's comments about Pocahontas, acting like they were the worst atrocity since Wounded Knee.
I think there's an element of racism, but I think it's also because he knows he can use it and stoke it to drive the most controversy.
This is unreal. I totally agree with Megan. Not only did he say that, which is considered by many a racial slur, he was standing in front of a portrait of Andrew Jackson.
We need to begin to acknowledge this is not just about name-calling. It's not about name-calling in politics. It's about a bigot who sits at 1600 Pennsylvania.
It's always sort of poking and prodding and making jokes and making attacks at the expense of people who are not white.
How did all the dumb people get on TV? Joe Concha may know. He watches it for a living. He covers media for the Hill newspaper, and he joins us tonight. So, Joe, what gets me about this, here you have someone who falsely claimed to be an historically oppressed minority in order to get a job reserved for members of that group, American Indians, totally lied in order to make money, and that's cool. And yet someone who jokes about it is the bigot. Like, how does that work exactly?
Well, look, the narrative, I think, Tucker, should be, and if this were the narrative, then we ain't talking right now, that President Trump made an unnecessary and inappropriate comment during a solemn ceremony at the White House to Navajo code talkers. If that were the case, fine. We have
I
no
thought
problem.
it was hilarious, but whatever. I'm happy to be in the minority on that. That's
Some
fine.
don't. That's fine. Half and half, right? Everything in this country is half and half. But then the media overplays its hand, like it does every time. Not all, but most. The prevailing narrative suddenly became that Senator Warren is an innocent victim of a racial attack by the President of the United States. And the reason why I know that became the prevalent narrative is because I looked at the questions during the White House press briefing yesterday. Now, this is a breakdown per the official White House transcript. Questions about Elizabeth Warren or Pocahontas, 7. Number of times racial slur or racially were broached as it relates to the name Pocahontas, 7. Number of questions about the Access Hollywood tape, 4. Number of questions about Alabama Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore, 2. Here's the kicker. Number of questions about sitting Democratic Senator Al Franken, who had just held a press conference saying that he was staying in the Senate despite several accusers coming forward, including photo evidence of him groping a woman while she was asleep. 1. Number of questions about Democratic Congressman John Conyers, 0. Add that all up, you have 13 questions about Senator Warren, Pocahontas, the Access Hollywood tape, and Roy Moore, while 1 question combined about Al Franken or John Conyers.
I mean, actually, this is why Roy Moore is going to get elected, not because of him, but because the media is so irresponsible and loathsome. But let me just ask you this, and it's not, if you don't like what Trump said, I totally get it. You know, I can see why people would be offended by it. What I don't understand is why Elizabeth Warren gets a pass for basically, how is this different from wearing blackface? How is this different from, like, mocking someone's, in effect, in the most cynical possible way, someone else's ethnicity in order to profit from it? Yeah. I don't know why that's okay.
Because the context is purposely being left to the side. What was the context here? Trump wasn't directing his insult towards those Navajo code talkers. It wasn't towards anybody's heritage. He was mocking a woman, a sitting U.S. senator who could be a 2020 presidential candidate, for pretending to be something that she wasn't to advance her career. This was during the 90s, remember. Harvard was under a lot of pressure to hire minorities, and they went ahead with that. And if you see every interview with Elizabeth Warren yesterday, after the fact, this is barely touched. She is barely pressed on the question. The answer she gives is that her mother and her grandparents told her when she was young what her heritage was.
It's such a crock. And by the way, she could fix it. She could end the mystery with a simple Ancestry.com. But by the way, this is just like a metaphor for the whole system, which is designed to help the oppressed, but actually benefits the already entitled, like Elizabeth Warren. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and Tucker, look, and when I'm
the sons of African dictators benefit from programs designed to help the needy in this country. I mean, it's like, it's very cynical.
Right. And when I'm 8 and my parents tell me that I'm Scotch Romanian or Comanche Indians, I'll believe them. But as I get older and I go through enough holidays and I do enough research on my heritage, I don't put it on an application or tell Harvard or Penn that that's what I am. And if she just apologizes for it now, then it goes away. But she won't. She stands by it. And the irony is that she calls out Wall Street for gaming the system. It appears that she gamed the system as well, Tucker.
Yeah, I would say so. Joe Concha, thank you.
Thank you.